9-1 action. The Starite is on top of mines and bats encased in ice blocks. Ranged weapons with 3 ammo are just good enough here. Shoot the middle ice block to free the bat. Drop the weapon and pick up the bat to move it out of the way. Shoot the next layer's middle ice block and hope it doesn't explode on Maxwell's face. Finally, shoot the top ice block with the last shot. And hoping for the best worked out so well last time, I'll do it again. "9-2 action. Run down to the Starite. Ghost chase Maxwell once he gets close to them." And then I was like, Pac-Man? Okay. "9-3 action. Pull a lever to temporarily open a gate that connects to a dangerous area with a spiked ball and steel box getting moved around by air vents. A wooden platform and harpies guard the Starite. Instead of going up there with flight, we'll bring the Starite to us. At first I used fire objects to break the wooden platform, but I needed to get the good ones back for another level, so I used red magic instead. I just realized that sentence sounds insane. Red magic is like fire object adjacent. I also finally found a use for lava, a nearly useless summon that drops lava over an area and quickly disappears. This doesn't set most relevant things on fire, and is too weak for anything else. It's just enough to break the wooden platform though. Seriously, this was the weakest summon I tried to find a use for so many times and it never worked. We use people to lure the harpies away and nudge the Starite to the corner. Be ready to center the screen on Maxwell after the spike ball goes by and the final Starite nudge. This ensures we can flip the switch and have the Starite fall to us. "9-4 action. There are 2 paths to the Starite. Large ice spikes block one, and a gap and cicalia block another. They meet up at a frost giant encased in ice. Behind them is the Starite up a high platform. I went the spiky path once since Gorilla destroyed them, but each other time I used a hide item to get over the gap. We can easily jump over the cicalia to reach the frost giant. We'll use a fire item since this thaws the frost giant and scares them so they don't kill Maxwell. Then nudge the Starite down with the fire item after extinguishing it in the water. "9-5 action. Maxwell is trapped behind stalagmites. Yes, both of them are stalagmites, remember? There are spiked balls that will fall once he goes under them, a large fire vent, and Necromancer with their army guarding the Starite. The only 2 things we need are a water item to get rid of the fire, and something to ride that can fly. We can escape the stalagmites by teleporting to the ride. The spiked balls will scare creatures, so we trigger them falling with Maxwell jumping to the bottom platform. The fire scares animals and has too large of a hitbox for most things to fly over, so I extinguish it with a water item. The Necromancer's army will politely all follow us into the lava to open the path to the Starite. "9-6 action. The Starite is buried under a lot of sand and is protected by monsters. We need a way to gain height and break sand, so vehicles with explosive attacks are perfect here. Most vehicles of this type only attack in front of them, so we need to angle them diagonally to break the sand and not self-destruct. Let the Cyclops kill the mummies and try to put them behind your vehicle before exiting to get out of their aggro range. We'll need a small object to nudge the Starite, but that's no surprise at this point. "9-7 action. There are 2 paths to the Starite. One with minimal swimming leading to a pit Maxwell needs to gain enough height to get out of. The other has him swim under that. Both involve an aggressive plesiosaurus. They meet up at a giant and girl guarding the Starite. You lose if the girl dies. We need to swim either way, so I use rideable aquatic animals. First, I lure the Plesiosaurus away from the bottom path by constantly moving the summon. That frees up room to get to the giant and girl. Have the giant attack the summon, which allows us to phase through them and grab the Starite. (9-8) action. Kill Shogoth for the Starite gate to open, and another one to raise it to Maxwell. Shogoth is surprisingly weak, so we use weak animals to kill them. 9-9 action. Many monsters, switches, and levers block the way as we descend to the Starite guarded by a Chimera, and air vents pushing Maxwell into lava. My summonless senses are tingling again. The first layer of monsters has 2 gargoyles. Jump down to the left and hold right on the way down to take as little damage to the nearby gargoyle as possible, and run away to lure it to the right. Once we are about to be attacked by both gargoyles, jump over the left one and run to the lever. We'll need to be out of its aggro range to stop it from flying and get it on the gate. Once open, the gargoyle is now close enough to fight the Jersey Devil. He's also there. With it walking far enough left, Maxwell can sneak by and pull the gray switch to get to the next layer. A flatwood monster will attack once we jump down, but we can jump over it and pull the next gray switch as long as the other one is far enough away to not knock us out of range. Normally, you're supposed to pull a green and red switch to get past the air vents blowing into the lava, but these switches are more trouble than they're worth. Jump into the lava and out directly into the Chimera. Wait, Maxwell, no, it's dangerous, don't do it. I would usually either die in one hit or get knocked too far in the wrong direction to win. This time, I got attacked a moment too late and got knocked slightly to the left to grab the Starite without summons. (9-10) action. The Starite is on the opposite side of a lava pit with a square platform blocking the direct path forward. We're going to have to fly, so say goodbye to even more flying summons, my beloved. (9-11) action. The Starite is above a small dirt layer attached to a rope. An air vent will blow it towards Maxwell, but a wooden platform prevents it from falling all the way down. Maxwell is trapped in an area that basically forces the Starite to be moved to him. This was a level that required me to get some fire summons back. We can blow up the rope with them, burn the wooden platform, and blow up the dirt paired with another summon that explodes when making contact with fire. Strangely, items can even move the Starite by attaching to the rope, but it needs to be quickly before the Starite burns and the rope has to face the right direction. Oh, wait, we're kinda onto something here. We're kinda onto something. Hold on! It's coming, I mean, it's making its way. This is Scribblenauts. That's the game we're playing right now. Please don't have the Starite die right before me. Come on. Oh my, let's go. That's a good one. (9-1) puzzle. Get the prisoner, bully, and lawyer onto the top platform. The idea for this level is getting them to heaven, so it gives items considered holy the special attribute of making the people holding them fly up to the higher platform. This turns usually useless items into the best solution here. (9-2) puzzle. Resurrect the zombie and contain them in the cell. Unfortunately, reanimating the zombie uses electricity items, and only good ones at that. Zeus can't just attack something for that lightning to zap the zombie back to on life. Why did I write that? The only other way that works as far as I can tell is connecting a rope item to the zombie and cryo chamber. I had more ropes than electrical objects, so I used some short ones to resurrect the zombie. Then we need to lure it down to the lower platform and in the cage. I just summon random people to aggro the zombie down and close the cage with them both inside. (9-3) Puzzle. Kill the werewolf disguised as a grandmother. We can just use bad aggressive creatures. A spider can even win from under the bed if we stop it from being stupid and jumping up. (9-4) Puzzle. The starlight is contained inside a coffin under dirt and guarded by a vampire. This level is annoying to do with a single explosive, since we need to be the perfect distance to not aggro the vampire but still destroy the dirt. Then we need to jump down the hole but not push the coffin too far to the right, or the starlight will be just out of grasp. But it is possible. (9-5) Puzzle. Get the postman following Maxwell near the mansion. A werewolf blocks the path, but killing it fails the level. We can just aggro the werewolf ourselves and bring it to the right corner of the screen with us so the postman doesn't get scared and run away. Jump back over the werewolf so we can pick up the starlight for an easy summonless clear.
Bye. Enjoy your mail. Oh, cool. The mail just came. Awesome. Where'd the mailman go?
(9-6) Puzzle. Summon a party item and wear 3 things. There are a bunch of bad party items we can summon here. We can do the same trick as before by taking off the clothing item and putting it back on to spawn the starlight. (9-7) Puzzle. Bring the 3 trash bags to the higher platform. The platform is high up enough that we'll use flying items here. Some break upon touching the water, so we'll make them exist while they're in the air, and be extra careful when moving the mutants with them. (9-8) Puzzle. Summon a wearable item to place on the first floor, a food item on the second floor, and a sound producing item on the third floor. We just summoned 3 bad items, and yeah. (9-9) Puzzle. Help the zombies turn the enemies with weapons into zombies. If anyone in the level dies, you lose. These zombies usually die to the gun while approaching, but there might be a way we can solve this without violence. I mean without summons. We will use violence, don't worry. Pick up the corpse in the second graveyard and lure all the zombies back into the left corner of the screen. This will make them all stack up on top of each other, so they'll attack all the enemies at once instead of one at a time. Drop the corpse and run in front of them so they'll become aggressive again. Stay in front of them to block as many shots from the gun as possible with Maxwell, which should let the zombies advance close enough to turn the enemies before anyone dies. And you know what? Heck it, Maxwell being so resistant to bullets is a superpower, I'll say it. Finally, we need to actually reach the starlight on top of the tree. Jump over the zombies and hope they accidentally knock us into the starlight without summons. (9-10) Puzzle. A grandfather clock will teleport to the 4 corners of the map whenever Maxwell gets near it. Place items in the 3 spots the clock can teleport, and once Maxwell walks near it, the starlight will spawn. This is the perfect level to use objects that summon multiple objects. Rooms are perfect for this, since they summon appliances and furniture that are typically in those rooms. Kitchen summons a fridge, fork, and stove to put in all 3 spots for a 1 summon clear by technicality. My favorite way to win. (9-11) Puzzle. Protect the giant from villagers to the left and knights to the right. If a villager dies, you lose. After enough time passes, the starlight will spawn. I don't actually know why this happens, but placing a pool item under the giant immediately spawns the starlight. Grab it before we can question this, and the giant dies. The giant moves before we press OK, so I tried the 7-7 puzzle strategy here, but it doesn't work. He runs the correct direction to fight the knights who are allowed to die, which would also give him some distance from the villagers who aren't allowed to die, but can attack. The giant is too weak to solo 2 knights though. (10-1) action. Going through the tripwire on the only path causes the starlight under Maxwell to fall. Spiked balls at the bottom will destroy the starlight before Maxwell can reach it. Buildings are background objects with a solid roof, so they don't get destroyed by the spiked balls, and the starlight can land on them to at least slow it down enough to grab it. Add this to the list of levels I tried to beat summonless for an embarrassing amount of time. (10-2) action. As Maxwell moves forward on the top platform, below him the starlight gets pushed by a gate. The top platform is longer, so the starlight will fall off the level if Maxwell moves all the way up. I was out of rope items to attach the starlight to the gate, but we'd still need a way to reach it, and I was also out of flying items. Fortunately, glue works amazingly here. Big day for glue fans. We attach glue to the starlight and a bird. We can lure the bird towards Maxwell with another item to get it to fly the starlight over to him. Unfortunately, birds will lose stamina that I didn't even know they had and eventually fall into the void with the starlight. So be ready to run off the top platform and grab the starlight on your way down. (10-3) action. The starlight is on top of 3 different gates. 2 are opened with buttons underwater, and 1 is opened with a lever behind sand. All of them are guarded by monsters. Fortunately, we can cheese all of the gates. The lever can be flipped with an electrical explosion. We don't need an item to swim since the monsters all have snorkels. We can kill the wolf to steal their snorkel. Then drop the weapon on the buttons and swim to the starlight, turning a scary looking level into a nice and easy one. (10-4) action. Where the X-Way... the X-Way. Wear the X-ray goggles to open the gate. This is an easy and intended summonless level. There's not really anything else to say. Does anyone else think the starlight would taste really good? (10-5) action. Levers open gates above Maxwell. One of them drops the starlight, and the others drop monsters. Just pull the correct one for another easy summonless clear. (10-6) action. Maxwell's hat and a wooden cage are attached to a rope on the ceiling. Below them is lava. Maxwell can start opening the cage, but won't be able to finish the animation before falling back down, forcing him to restart the animation and never open the cage. Of course I'm lying. We can keep getting a boosted jump from the lava's damage to get in range of the cage. Remember how we used a tiger to get an alternate double jump? Well, we can do the same thing here. Interacting with the cage grants us another jump to give us just enough time for the cage to open and starlight to fall onto us. It's a lot harder than it looks with how lava knockback works, but we take those. (10-7) action. Welcome to hell. Hi, how are ya? The starlight is on a high platform. Maxwell can press a red button to have 3 large boulders drop to open a path or dig to the starlight. Both regular methods of beating this level require flying, so we're going to do the longest nudge of the challenge. First, to make the starlight grabbable, go to the right corner and drop the nudging item onto the button. The boulders will bounce off of Maxwell to fall behind him. And since I had to do this, you'll have to watch it.
That guarantees that I'll be able to actually hit this star right after, 45 minutes. So yeah, see you in an hour.
(10-8) action. Air vents blow Maxwell up and down into the void. 2 buttons need to be pressed to open the starlight gates. To save the most time, I would try to get Maxwell to the last air vent. At the perfect spot, he can run from one air vent blowing up to the other without getting pushed off the map from the one pointing down. Do that until he's above the last air vent. Then, summon a bad item to drop into the buttons to open the gates. If we just run forward, Maxwell will hit the wall and fall. Instead, run off the air vent to the left and turn back around to hopefully land next to the starlight. (10-9) action. Press 3 buttons at the same time to open the starlight gate. One is on the ceiling, one is underwater, and one is on top of a fire vent. We'll use rooms that summon multiple items again. 2 of the items will touch the button underwater, one for the one on fire, and we'll quickly jump into the ceiling button by using one of the items as a platform before the fire destroys the other item. That'll open the gate so we can grab the starlight. (10-10) action. The starlight is behind a gate that, when opened, will turn on an air vent to blow it into spikes. We use a height item and vehicle to teleport into, and a building for the starlight to safely land on. (10-11) action. Run into the first gate to open all of them. This is a troll level from the developers. I sure hope they don't troll me in the final puzzle level, haha. Dev intended, no summon clear. (10-1) puzzle. Scare the maid with police or weapons. I redid this level to get policewoman back to shoot a rope, so bad weapons are better to use than people here. (10-2) puzzle. Summon something romantic. We just summon 4 more unique flowers. (10-3) puzzle. Bring the boat to the left or right. We can just push the boat. (10-4) puzzle. Win all 3 carnival games. Hit the target, kill the 3 moles, and press the button to hit the fire alarm with the kickball. Anything we can throw that does damage works here. I use some weapons, but most rocks deal some damage from being thrown. The top mole is hard to hit with rocks, but a throw from the apex of our jump works. (10-5) puzzle. Make the cowboy live and kill the highwayman holding a gun. The cowboy has to kill the highwayman himself to win. We just give the cowboy weapons that win. (10-6) puzzle. Give 1 patient family, 1 medical help, and 1 entertainment. Doctor and nurse both count as family and medical help. Although anything that counts as any of these categories isn't good enough to worry about using. (10-7) puzzle. Kill the zombies and don't let the boy or woman die or get turned. We just summon creatures strong enough to kill the zombies. If Plants vs. Zombies taught me anything, it's that lawnmowers are the best way to kill zombies. (10-8) puzzle. Kill the 3 escaped prisoners or bring them back near the prison. To absolutely nobody's surprise, I chose violence. 10-9 puzzle. Bring the items near the thing they match with. We just use a height item and vehicle to teleport between floors. The window blinds and pedestal can't be picked up, so I used a container to move them. 10-10 puzzle. Bring the pets near the person on the other side. The animals attack each other, so I used a container to move the Dalmatian. Strangely, the cat is considered too big by the game to fit in containers Maxwell can carry, so I moved it with food. My favorite solution is using Lunchbox as a container and the sandwich that spawns with it. It won't make the cat move, but it can lure the grandmother near the cat for the win. Also, this game is kinda silly sometimes. What? What? Since when? $10-11 puzzle. Time for the final level of the challenge. The only thing that could stop us now is if a level required summoning the exact same item 4 times. The level where you have to summon a starite is right behind me, isn't it? Yup, this level absolutely requires us to summon a toy starite to spawn the real one. I did get multiple comments saying I should allow synonyms, but if I allowed them, I could use valuable summons like rope 6 times, which would kind of defeat the point of the challenge in my opinion. I would be here on the final level without running out of a single item if I allowed that. Oh yeah, I also got comments saying this wasn't even a challenge, and how the commenter's friend's cousin actually played the game this way, so it's intended. You know, despite being impossible. But do you want to know the worst part about this level? It's almost possible to beat 4 times without synonyms. The most obvious alternate solution is to spawn something else that spawns a starite. Unless I got unlucky for an hour straight, Genie doesn't spawn starites until later games in the series. That sucks because Genie Lamp spawns Genie, which would have made 3 clears of the level possible without synonyms. If you want to get like a little crazier, summon a time machine, then summon a starite. But when picking up the real one, ride the time machine to put the game in a weird state, where you're sent to an area that counts as 10-11 puzzle, but resets our summons to before we summon the starite. You might think we just win here, but no, the real starite that wins levels is now what I'll call a glitched starite, that both isn't the real starite, and bizarrely isn't the toy starite Maxwell summons either. The toy starite can be thrown, and the glitch starite can't, which I would count as separate summons because they have different properties despite looking the same. This would have been important because the time machine teleports us to an area with another time machine to reset the level, and resets our summons except ones we bring with us. Going back to 10-11 puzzle with the glitch starite unfortunately doesn't help us either, the level condition just doesn't trigger. Looking at a normal clear of the level shows us that the toy starite, going from the state where it doesn't exist yet, and we need to tap it to grab it, then let go, is what triggers the real starite to spawn. And we just can't do that. Even putting it in something and taking it out doesn't work. Or like the level can't trigger the win condition while still on the OK screen, I don't know. But I know what you're thinking, what if we just nuke the level and time it so Maxwell dies as he's traveling back in time? Unfortunately, that doesn't work since he'll never teleport while dead, so we don't undo the original toy starite spawn. I don't know why I thought this would help, but I really did. I tried a whole lot of nonsense, and this segment will eventually devolve into me saying that giving a giraffe a cool hat doesn't win the level, which you probably already knew. So, as much as I didn't want to say this, I wasn't able to 100% complete Scribblenauts without reusing objects. You can still beat every level in the game this way if it's any consolation, just not Gold Star the last level. That leaves the final, no summon clear total of levels at, 2-3 puzzle. Summon something the teacher wants in their classroom, or destroy the fire alarm. Destroying the fire alarm is obviously more optimal to avoid summoning, but nothing inside the level can be used to destroy it. The closest we get is throwing the clock, which can't damage it. Then we'll just have to unsummon it from reality. In theory, the solution is pretty simple, just push things into it until it clips out of the level. In practice, this took like 5 hours. What am I doing with my life? That leaves the real final total of summonless clears at 65 out of 220 levels, or 30% of levels. Remember, that was banning the double jump and other major glitches, so if you allow them, even more could be beaten summonless. About a third of total levels is way more than I expected. As this is the finale, let me know in the comments what your favorite solutions were in this challenge. My favorite is 7-7 Puzzles Win by Doing Nothing solution. It still is and always will be crazy to me that it actually worked. Thanks for watching, and especially thanks for watching the whole series. I plan on doing this in other Scribblenauts games, and we'll try this in Scribblenauts Unlimited right after this comes out. So subscribe and or hit that bell if you want to be a part of the streams and help me come up with solutions like people did in this game. And thanks to everyone who did help me with this first game. This challenge wouldn't be the same without all of your creativity.